Hello, how are y'all? Rags here. I found this article on CBR.com. Don't ask me what it stands for. I don't know. Star Wars, it's time to accept the real problem is the fans. Why is capitalized? Maybe that's the real problem. By Dustin Pinney. This was back in early January the 3rd. I was going to cover it earlier. Stuff came up, I got distracted, but here we are. There are many legitimate reasons for not liking the recent Star Wars sequel trilogy. Imagine. How you feel about a story is a matter of taste. I would say that instead, it's not so much a matter of taste to a degree. I would say that there are objective, dare I say it, flaws in the film, things that don't make sense, things that contradict previous information, stuff that, well, you've heard it before. The Star Wars franchise has existed for more than 40 years, and it means different things to different people. Well, let's see. What does Star Wars mean to me? A consistent world, a cast of characters that I care about, who grow and change over time, who develop, right? Who interact with one another. A story that does make sense, that's grounded with some level of consistency, right? That's what Star Wars sort of means to me. That is one of the reasons why I hate the sequel trilogy so much. Therefore, any new installment is virtually guaranteed to face criticism because it's impossible to please everyone. Please. Enough of this garbage. Stop. If you are writing an article on Star Wars, if you are talking about Star Wars, if you have, this doesn't even apply to Star Wars. This applies to everything. Every sport, every card game, every hobby, everything, every fandom. The idea of, it's going to face criticism, it's impossible to please everyone. Stop bringing this up. The new shit isn't terrible because it doesn't please anyone. And don't hand-wave away criticism because, you can't please everybody. There's always going to be somebody who criticizes you. Quit bringing up this whole impossible to please everyone thing. Where Star Wars fans run into problems, however, is in their extreme reactions to the new films. Let's see how extreme they really are. And we'll see what this author believes. We'll believe what's their name. We'll believe what Dustin will tell us what he believes to be an appropriate reaction to the new films is. Fans lash out, not because the movies didn't suit their personal taste, but because they offend their sense of identity. From review bombing to outright hate speech, oh no, not hate speech, the negativity swirling around Star Wars isn't coming from objectively bad filmmaking, it's coming from the fans themselves. Oh my god. Yeah, guys, the negativity isn't because there's objective problems, right? It's not because there's issues with the characters and the events. It's not because you've retconned stuff from the past people like. It's not because you made stuff up that people hate. No. It's not that. It's not coming from the filmmaking aspect or the story or the dialogue or the characters. No. No, that doesn't cause the negativity. It's coming from the fans themselves because you see, as we've learned, fans are the real problem. Fans are the real problem. The fans that buy all the tickets and, I would say comic books, but I don't know if they do that anymore. They certainly don't buy the merchandise as much anymore. Probably because there's less to connect with the movies. Why would I buy a Star Wars toy? And if I did, let's say I had an action figure or a statue space on my desk, why would I fill it with a Star Wars character? What Star Wars character is there now for me to identify with or to idolize or to respect in any way? I don't know. I don't think any of the characters are worth caring about. Why would I buy their stuff? Fans lash out not because the movies didn't suit their personal taste, but because they might offend their sense of identity. Well, if you identify as a Star Wars fan and Star Wars becomes terrible, it does make it a little bit difficult to continue to identify as a Star Wars fan. I would imagine that would make some people upset. And review bombing, well, maybe the reason that people review bomb, right? Maybe and this happens with video games too. I covered this a long time ago concerning Steam and review bombing, right? Maybe one of the reasons why review bombing is something that's done is because it's one of the only things that the normal person can do. If you're a normal, average, everyday moviegoer, you only have a certain amount of options at your disposal if you want to get back, or if you want to make your words heard, if you want to have your voice heard, right? One of those things is review bombing, leaving a bad review en masse to show to a company there's a lot of people who don't like what you've done. This is their way of getting their voice out. There's also boycotting, right? I don't want to support this company, so I won't, give them money. Also, when it comes to hate speech, fucking shut up. Grow up. Enough of this hate speech garbage. No one gives a shit. Hate speech isn't a thing. Just piss off. Let's see. The majority of Star Wars fans have long agreed the original trilogy is excellent. Yeah, I would say so. Maybe there's a reason why. Maybe there's a reason why people love the original trilogy, and maybe Disney should pay attention to what made those so beloved. Since then, there have been prequels, sequels, and spin-off, while a significant portion of the audience finds common ground in the view that the prequels, The Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, and Revenge of the Sith, are disappointing. There are many fans who love them. I agree they are disappointing. I don't think they're very good films, but there is a certain kind of likability that they have, right? There is a certain, especially now that we've had near 20 years, now that we've had them for that long, there is an aspect of, they've kind of become beloved in a strange way. People can recognize them as flawed, but they still have this meme quality to them. They expanded the universe in an incredible way, and they seem to come from the heart. They seem to come from George Lucas, who directed them all. Even though he had a lot of problems with producing them and making them, in terms of their quality, they came from a place of somebody who seemed like they loved Star Wars. However, both of these previous trilogies were released at a time before the ubiquity of social media. As a result, most audience backlash was relegated to, first, fanzines, never seen that before, and later, online forums frequented primarily by other fans. In our modern age, however, everyone is connected and can instantly share their opinions with the world. Correct. And boy, has it been pretty rough for the sequel trilogy. It's been really rough for the sequel trilogy. And Solo. Remember Solo? I have to remind myself every once in a while that even happened. When looking at many of the criticisms of the sequel trilogy, a lot of unrest centers around what a fan thought or hoped would happen. Following the 2015 release of The Force Awakens, fans came together to theorize about a number of the film's unresolved story threads, including Rey's parentage, Snoke's origin, and speculation regarding Rey and Kylo Ren's perceived romance. So, Force Awakens is a terrible movie. It is awful. A lot of problems with it. A lot of huge problems with it. Damages Star Wars in a pretty incredible way. But it didn't seem insultingly bad like TLJ and The Rise of Skywalker were. And even I, after watching The Force Awakens, even I was very interested. Where will the story go next? What will happen to Finn? What will happen to Rey? What will happen to all of these characters? Where do they go? What do they do? What happens with Luke? All this stuff, right? There was a lot of questions that were being set up that were either completely discarded or they were just told they were non-issues, explained as non-issues in The Last Jedi. Last Jedi really was what killed Star Wars for a lot of people. But The Force Awakens was the assist. It was setting up the layup, and The Last Jedi just dunked it and killed Star Wars for so many people. Also, this thing about Rey and Kylo's perceived romance, I don't understand who looks at that and thinks that there's a romance there. We often ask, could someone point to me a scene or lines of dialogue or something that actually happens in the film that would lend itself to some kind of a romance? And we keep getting the same answer. Oh, it's there. You can see it, can't you? Right? You can see that, right? No, I can't, because there's nothing in the film that lends to that idea. And now, looking back, we could see how crazy these Reylo shipper people are. After 2 years of furious debate, 2017's The Last Jedi revealed Rey's parents were nobodies, unceremoniously killed Snoke, and didn't allow Reylo to come to fruition. Yeah, that was the problem with those movies. When the movie didn't go the way they expected, a vocal contingent of fans became angry. That's not the thing. This whole There was this whole idea written by shitty article authors like Danny or what's his name, Dustin. I don't fucking care who you are. This ridiculous notion that people didn't like it because it's not what they expected. Right? Which means that no movie, let's take this logic to its logical conclusion. Any film with a surprise ending will be hated. Right? Planet of the Apes, garbage film, right? Any movie with a surprise ending will be hated because it didn't go how you expected. This idea that people didn't like The Last Jedi because it didn't go as I expected is garbage nonsense, and it is a deflection from the issues that what we got was horrible. What we got was nonsense. What we got was a film that destroyed characters and retconned all kinds of issues into the universe. It's not because we didn't expect it. It's because what we got didn't work. It was nonsense. And there are objective flaws with it, as we have been seeing for so long, as has been explained so often. This is a deflection. They review bomb sites like Rotten Tomatoes, harassed actors and filmmakers, if you could name a few, that'd be good, and produced countless video essays chronicling the reported sins of The Last Jedi. Yes, The Last Jedi literally made careers for people. Mahler, who a friend of mine I run a podcast with, EFAP, he essentially had his career jump-started because of The Last Jedi. I met him because of The Last Jedi. This became the point this brought myself, Wolf, him together. We started a podcast that continues to this day. It's fantastic, and you should all watch it. The Last Jedi made so many careers happen. And for that, at least, I am thankful. The silver lining of the dark, horrible cloud that is The Last Jedi. It's strange that so many countless video essays, right, can be made about The Last Jedi. It's almost like it's a film that's flawed in almost every way. The Rise of Skywalker was similarly met with backlash, albeit largely from a different corner of the fandom. Those upset that Rey and Kylo's arc didn't culminate in romance. Yeah, we call these people crazy, right? While Ben Solo found redemption, he didn't survive the film. Good, because Ben Solo is a psychotic, mass-murdering lunatic. He is a bad man. I'm glad he's dead. It is insane that Rey kissed him at the end. It is insane. Just like in virtually any fandom, when like-minded Star Wars devotees gather to share theories, likes, and dislikes, it can create an echo chamber, in which they find their views reflected back upon them and thus validated. Buoyed by a sense of entitlement, theories can morph into certainties, and when those expectations aren't met, some fans lash out. Again, with the idiotic, garbage deflection. You just didn't get what you expected, therefore it's bad. Nonsense. Although such backlash isn't new to Star Wars. Fuck, remember this scene? Remember this fucking scene happened. Jesus Christ. Although such backlash isn't new to Star Wars, Jar Jar Binks actor Ahmed Best recalled that intense criticism of his reviled character from the prequel drove him to contemplate suicide. Indeed. But it's certainly been magnified by social media. Actor Kelly Marie Tran was driven from Instagram of harassment from fans who disliked her character, Rose Tico. Well, we never got confirmation on that. She left social media. We don't know why. All we have is speculation. And also, there will be people out there, because of the incredibly wide-reaching audience of the Star Wars universe, right? Star Wars fans are all over the place. There's so many of them. That, yeah, if there is a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad, pointless, awful, annoying character like Rose Tico, some percent of an audience will take that out on the actress or the actor, right? These people are not representative of anybody except themselves, and nobody condones their behavior. Introduced in 2017's The Last Jedi, blah, blah, blah. The film's writer and director, Rian Johnson, has famously sparred on Twitter with trolls. Trolls, of course! Trolls. They're all trolls. If you have a problem with film, you are a troll. If you think Rian Johnson did something bad and you explain to him what he did wrong, just a troll. If you have any criticism of the film, you're just a troll. Any issue, any problem, anything at all, you're just a troll. You see, it's easy. This is what they do. Label and dismiss. Label and dismiss. This is what people do. This is what Jenny does, or Dustin, or whatever the fuck wrote this. Some nobody. This is what they do. You're just a blank, therefore, I don't have to deal with you. I don't have to talk about your arguments. I don't have to talk about anything that you want to talk about. We're not going to address the point or the issues that you have because I've called you a troll, therefore it justifies I can just go fuck off and do something else. And Rian Johnson even went so far as to delete 20,000 tweets in hopes of depriving them of ammunition. Interesting, don't you think? Interesting that somebody would delete 20,000 tweets because back when I had a Twitter account, right? Thank God I got suspended. Twitter is a fucking shithole. Leave it. That's my advice for the day. Leave it. You will be better off without it. I stood by the things that I said. I never thought of the things that I believed in as ammunition for the other side. Wouldn't have even occurred to me. I think that Rian Johnson deleted this shit because, well, one day they'll come from him. This happens every time. Well, not every time. This happens all the time when somebody gets a job or when someone gets called out for something they said years and years ago. What happens? Some celebrity deletes thousands and thousands of tweets. What's that? You got a job working for such and such. All of a sudden, you delete thousands and thousands of old tweets. Rian Johnson has admitted he has not seen any fair criticism of his movie, which is insane. The most divisive Star Wars film of all time. The one that can be given objective criticism as to why it's bad, as many have done on YouTube. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it. Perfect film. Perfect film. Star Daisy Ridley left social media in 2016 following the release of The Force Awakens and has vowed never to return. Yes, smart idea. Everyone should leave social media and never return. Heck, before The Force Awakens even released, actor John Boyega drew racist criticism because his character Finn was a black stormtrooper. Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm sure that in the wide world there's a few crazy people. Yeah. Make sure that you focus on that as the problem. Make sure what you do. See, here's the thing. Finn, right? John Boyega's character Finn. I've said it. Others have said it, and many will continue to say it into the future, and I will stand by this. Finn was the most wasted character in all Star Wars. Finn was the most absolutely wasted character in all of Star Wars. A stormtrooper who breaks the conditioning, who has to come to terms with a new life and swapping allegiances and dealing with his principles, and how can he bear to kill his ex-brothers and sisters and comrades at arms? Man, that could have been a really interesting story. We got nothing. We got absolutely nothing from Finn. He's the goofball who's always screaming people's names. Rey! Poe! Rey! Rey! That was his character. Screaming people's names, being a worthless goofball. John Boyega, I know why you are so upset. Because guess what? We're upset too. We're upset at what they did to your character. Mr. Boyega, oh, you don't have to tell us twice. You are preaching to the choir, Mr. B. But you know what? All of these problems, don't talk about them. Don't worry about them. Don't talk about those. Talk about how some people criticize his character because it's a black character. Why are you even giving these people attention? First off, I don't even know who these people are. It's the internet. There will be crazy idiots out there. Quit focusing on them. Focus on, this is the problem. Remember what I said before? This is what you do. Label, dismiss. The problems with Finn's character? No. They're just racist. Don't worry about it. Don't talk about it. Now with the release of The Rise of Skywalker, he's at the center of a social media firestorm for a joke about Finn laying the pipe with Rey following Kylo's death. Yeah, because John Boyega is fucking upset that his character was basically wasted and betrayed, and that Rey, who if anything should have had a romance with Finn, right, instead smooches the mass-murdering, psychopathic, patricidal Kylo Ren. No, let's smooch him at the very end. Which insane. Oh yeah, Rey smooches. She gives old Kylo the kiss. Not fit. Nonsense. This is what happens when you have a trilogy without a roadmap. Rey ends up kissing Kylo before he fucking dies. You know Kylo's last words? You know the last thing Kylo says in the movie is "ouch." That pretty much sums up his character. That just sums up the sequel trilogy. Ouch. That's fucking meta for you. There is a strong undercurrent of racism and sexism at the heart of these attacks. Yeah, gotcha. For some, the original Star Wars movies were about mostly white men doing amazing things. Yeah, never mind Princess Leia. Never mind Lando Calrissian. Never mind Chewbacca. Never mind, this is just about white men doing amazing things. That's just it. Just a bunch of white men, right? To have women or a black man in lead roles challenges their notions of what Star Wars is. Yeah, fuck off. No one cares that Rey's a woman. People don't like Rey because she's an insane Mary Sue. She fits it to a T. Incredibly powerful. The most powerful Jedi who ever lived. Undoubtedly now, with what she does. No training, still insanely powerful. No flaws. If anything, you could say her only flaw is that she is too virtuous. Everybody loves her. She fits the description to a T. There is nothing to connect with. There is nothing to respect in her. A black man in lead roles? Yeah. Definitely. Our problem with Finn is that he was black. Yeah, that's a good way to sum it up. Fuck you, Justin, whoever name is. Fuck you. It had nothing to do with his wasted character, or his potential, or his lines, or his behavior, or the fact that he's made a joke in the movies. No. No, it's because he's black. That's the fan criticism, is that he's black. Sure. Yeah. Sure. One could argue that those fans are simply voicing their opinion. Why is that in quotations? That is an opinion. Even if it's racist, it's an opinion, right? If you're a racist and you hate, I don't know, Hispanics, that's still your opinion. It's not a quote-unquote opinion. No. You can't say that's not actually an opinion. Don't give yourself that fucking power. You don't have the mental faculties to deal with that. You don't have the brain power. Don't do it. You will lose. That argument is void, however, once a racial slur or sexist comment is uttered. Guess what, right? Guess what? I'm gonna blow your tiny mind. I'm gonna give you a big galaxy brain take here. I'm gonna give you an insane, world-shattering observation that most people learn when they're like fucking 10 years old, but you haven't yet, all right? Arguments do not become void because you use a racial slur. Arguments do not become void because you use a sexist slur. Right? You can call Rey a noisy hole or whatever, or a bitch or whatever you want to call her, right? Still a Mary Sue. You can call Finn N-word, an Ewok. You can call him an E-word. You can call him a Negroid or whatever. You can call him whatever you want. You can call him whatever porch monkey, whatever slur you want. And you could also say that his character was wasted. And you can present all the arguments. Should you use racial slurs? No. Should you use sexist slurs? No. Why do I keep saying slurs? Slurs. Do not use sexist or racist slurs. It turns people off your arguments, for starters. People like this. Also, not a morally good thing to do. Jokes aside, of course. If you criticize somebody, it doesn't. The argument holds on its own. That fucking bitch, Rey, is a Mary Sue. Guess what? She still is a Mary Sue. Was Harrison Ford abused for agreeing to be in a movie where his character was killed off and he failed to save his son? No. I mean, maybe there were some people out there, probably some people, who said mean things about Harrison Ford's character. I mean, if anything, they wasted him too. They completely... Here's another problem with the sequel trilogy. Here's another thing that The Force Awakens did that was fucking terrible. They completely undid his arc from the original trilogy. What is he now? He's some loser. He's some washed up, deadbeat dad loser. That's what they did to Han Solo in The Force Awakens. He's just some fucking washed up loser. Couldn't keep his marriage together. For whatever reasons. Galactic war hero. Savior of the rebellion. Instrumental in the defeat of the evil Galactic Empire. What is he now? Some washed up fucking loser. Abandoned his kid. Abandoned his marriage. And just went back to being a smuggler with Chewie who couldn't even keep his ship. There's some criticism of the Force Awakens. There are some reasons why you look back and you're like, oh yeah, man, those movies were shit. Was Luke Skywalker accused of being a Mary Sue when he was able to project himself across the galaxy and fight Kylo Ren? No, why would that make him a Mary Sue? That's pathetic. If anything, The Last Jedi ruined Luke Skywalker, right? And then the Rise of Skywalker shows up and just stomps on the ashes. That's what it does. The Rise of Skywalker confirms that he could have flown to Crate. He could have gone to Crate himself, but he didn't. What did he do? He killed himself to perform some party trick with some plan that didn't make any sense. Yeah. Nothing Mary Sue about Luke. Luke's about as far from a Mary Sue in this sequel trilogy as you could imagine. Loving Star Wars is not a bad thing. Being disappointed when the thing you love changes into something else is understandable. Especially, right? Especially when it used to be good, or at least it used to be likable, bad but likable, and then you just take a shit on it. Especially when the sequels come out and say, yeah, Han Solo, we ruined him. Fuck him. Like all the characters. Just fuck all the characters. I think the only character they didn't just take a dump on was Leia. They relegate Chewie to a chauffeur in The Last Jedi. Unironically, C-3PO is the best character in The Rise of Skywalker. He's the most consistent character in The Rise of Skywalker. It's C-3PO. People are disappointed because what was once good and they loved is unlovable. It's natural to feel some dissonance when a constant in your life suddenly shifts. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, but if you're a Star Wars fan, a constant is definitely not what I'd apply to it. Fake gamer girl detected. At the end of the day, however, fans don't control who is cast in a movie. Unfortunately. The story the writers decides to tell or how we feel about it. Yeah, and we see how that worked out. Star Wars is fractured potentially beyond repair at this point. It's making less and less and less and less money by considerable margins, and more people have decided that, Star Wars is something only worthy of mockery now. It is something that is sad and pathetic. It used to be something great. It used to be something that was flawed but still likable and lovable, that still added to the series, that still added to the franchise. I wish the fans controlled who the story writers were. I wish the fans controlled the casting. Hell, I'd roll the dice on any of this shit from the sequel trilogy. The script, the characters, everything. Roll the dice. Just re-roll that shit. I'll take the new result. The chances of it being worse are basically zero. It's like if you've got a D20 and you roll a 2. You want to re-roll? You bet your ass I want to re-roll. Assuming that what we got was a 2. It might just be a 1. Since 1977, Star Wars has delighted and inspired countless millions. Less so now. The saga of that magical galaxy far, far away has touched the hearts of viewers from all walks of life. For a long time, women and people of color didn't get to see themselves as part of that world. Okay, sorry Lando, sorry Princess Leia, you don't count as inspirations to women and people of color. Sorry, you don't count as inspirations anymore. You didn't back then, right? Star Wars was never, ever excluded anybody. Never did. And now, let's say you're one of the people who is like, oh, this new sequel trilogy, it's so good that they have a female protagonist. Well, she's a fucking worthless loser, right? I'm not going to say worthless loser. I mean an attempt of being an inspiration. If you're inspired by Rey, it's the most shallow inspiration I think I could think of. We're just going to plop a Mary Sue who can't fail at anything, who's better than everybody, who doesn't need to train, who's just the best, she's the real chosen one, right? Fuck that Anakin Skywalker shit. She's the real chosen one. She's the one who's really going to defeat Palpatine. Yeah. Yeah, talk about artificially creating an amazing character. Yeah. What black person looks at Finn and is like, you know what? I want to be just like Finn. I don't know. Maybe they're out there. They need to get their heads fucking checked, though, because they made a joke of him. So good job. Now we have women and people of color who have, now they have icons to look at. Finn and Rey. Wow. Fucking amazing. For a long time, women and people blah, blah, blah. Now they can sit in a theater, look up at the screen, and see people like them being heroes and saving the universe from the kind of single-minded oppressors who may have tried to keep them down in their own love. Fucking hell, man. Play those fucking identity politics, mate. Fucking keep playing them, keep playing them. Guess what? It makes the movies worse. And more people can see right through that shit. They can see how terrible the universe has become because of it. They can see how terrible Star Wars has come because of it. The sequels have not made Star Wars better. And it has nothing to do with the fact that Rey's a woman, nothing to do with the fact that Finn's black. It's because these characters are garbage. To the point even John Boyega is trashing Disney now. He's making fun of the romance between Kylo and Rey. Even he's like, yeah, they fucked my character. Even Poe's been taking shots at him. Oscar Isaac, even he's been taking shots at him. Lord knows what Rey's been saying. Jesus. If that kind of representation or inability to accept story choices that weren't yours prevents you from enjoying the movie, Star Wars isn't the problem. Yeah. Star Wars isn't the problem. Yeah, definitely. The terrible decisions that they made in the movies. The fact that the fact that, oh, that's the end. The fact that the movies are crap. That's not the problem. And again, remember what I said before. This happens all the time. With SJWs, they do it all the time. This Dustin guy sounds like he's fucking cut from the same cloth, right? What's the problem with Star Wars? No issues that fans have brought up were addressed in this article. Not a single one. This is a man who is whining at the internet, right? He's whining because people didn't like Star Wars movies. And what is he going to do? Is he going to address the actual criticisms? Is he going to address the problems, the plot holes, the retcons and lore, the insane nonsensical storytelling? Is he going to say that? No, because if he does, then he has to think about it. He has to think about it, then it's like a little mole. And that little mole burrows itself into your mind, and sometimes you can't get rid of it. Sometimes when you actually delve into the problems of Star Wars, you think, oh shit, Star Wars is really flawed now. There's a lot of problems with it, and maybe you won't like it as much because you've recognized all these problems. Maybe your brain wants a better story, and then once your brain actually starts recognizing how terrible the sequels are, you won't enjoy it as much, and maybe that's what you're afraid of. So, what do you do instead? It's far easier as an alternative to say, they just don't like women and black people, which is essentially this article. Fans don't like women and black people. They're the real problem. Is it the fact that this woman and this black person have characters that are written like garbage to the point where even the actors are trashing them? No. I have a question for Dustin Justin, whoever wrote this article, right? Is John Boyega, is he racist? Is the actor who played Finn, right? Who's being vocal against the film, right? He's John Boyega. Is he a sexist for making fun of Reylo? Or do you think he has actual problems? Is John Boyega making fun of Reylo because he hates women? Or because there's actual problems? Some food for thought. Not for us. I mean, we know. Most of the people who watch this channel, who watch EFAP, who watch all the other people out there from Doomcock to Critical Drinker to everyone else who rants and raves all the time about Star Wars because of how terrible Star Wars is. We know. We know the issues. We know the problems. And never once have we said, you know what Rey's problem was? She's a woman. You know what the problem with Finn was? He's black. Never once has this been an issue we've raised because it isn't an issue. It's not a problem that we have. But you know, you keep beating the shit out of that straw man. Dustin. You keep beating the shit out of that straw man, Justin. Dustin. Fuck. Dustin. If your name's Dustin, fucking change it, all right? Keep eating the shit out of that straw sheet. Fuck, I can't even talk anymore. We're one taking it. No redos. No redos. Much like the sequel trilogy. There will be no redos. As much as you might want to redo it, go back in time, roll the fate dice, you will never, ever get them to go away. Maybe if Disney sells the IP, which they won't, by the way. We can get something better that just says, nah, these aren't canon. We're going to make some actually good ones. Oh, keep beating the shit out of that straw man, Dustin. You're not going to change anyone's mind. You seen the comments on this? You seen the comments on this video? They're pretty antagonistic to you because your garbage tier article is being recognized that it is what it is. Everyone have a magical day. I can't wait for Star Wars to get ruined. By the way, fans love The Mandalorian. I don't think Mandalorian's good, but I'm happy that so many people enjoy it. It's not harmfully bad, right? It's not like it doesn't destroy the series like the sequels did. I don't like Mandalorian, but I'm glad that people are rallying around it. People liked Rogue One, all right? People liked a lot of the shows, Clone Wars, even Rebels I've heard is okay. Why is it they like those things and they don't like this? If the problem is that they hate women and minorities, why do they love Rogue One? Why do people really like Rogue One? How come they don't like the sequel trilogy? Some food for thought, Dustin. Something to reflect on. You're not going to watch this video. You talk about echo chambers. You're not going to watch this video. You're too attached to Star Wars. You're the one who's attached to Star Wars. Too attached. We're the ones who could see the issues. You won't even do that. Toodles.